Hi guys, welcome to the rundown. My name is Nihala Barasa.
And I'm Danunzi Yuko.
And today we are talking about, is this sensitive? Is it a sensitive issue? No, it's not a sensitive issue. It's a highly questioned issue.
Yes.
From the title, you can already tell we are talking about how the CRB environment operates. So how you get listed on the CRB, how you can get removed on the CRB, and the regulation around it.
Yes.
This came from a question one of my quote-unquote friends recently asked, and we said, well, might as well be an episode that we discuss here. Mm-hmm. But before we begin, subscribe. Enda tu hapa tu, click tu hapa tu. Hapa tu, kuleta ile kitu hivi ya kusema subscribe. Tuko sawa. Please subscribe, tell a friend about this channel. So where do you want us to begin today, Dani?
Okay, first of all, let's start by defining what is a CRB. Mm-hmm. So CRB in full is a credit reference bureau. Mm-hmm. So this is basically a company that collects data on loans issued by lending institutions mm-hmm. like banks, mm-hmm. or in Kenya we have a lot of digital lenders. So there are those digital lenders that provide information to CRB and also use that information for giving loans. So on borrowers, current and past loans. Mm. So if you've ever taken a loan, whether you've already paid it in full or whether you're still paying it, if you have an existing loan, that information will be with the credit reference bureaus in Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah. So probably before we move, mm-hmm. Before I ask you some questions,
yes.
Today you are the expert.
Umesikia?
On CRB.
Umesikia? Chatuone. Nikisema stand unakat.
Yeah, so we mainly have 3 CRBs that are licensed in Kenya. Mm-hmm. So one is the Credit Info CRB. Mm-hmm. We have Metropole and we have TransUnion. Mm. So those are the 3 main CRBs that are licensed by the Central Bank of Kenya. Yeah. So to start us off, maybe you can tell us what is the importance of CRB, a credit reference bureau.
Sasa unajua nilikuwa nimecram answers na nipatia question nyingine. Anyway, so the importance of CRB is kind of to determine your credit worthiness mm-hmm. as a borrower. It's supposed to give the lenders and the people in the lending environment a kind of a gist of who you are and your credit risk and how much loan they can and cannot give you. Yes. So like she said, CRBs are licensed by the Central Bank of Kenya, and the operational statute that brings this into fold is the Banking Act. Mm-hmm. I think those are the 2 things that I think we need to know from JAM.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, just to add on what she said, the information that is contained or that a CRB will have on you is your repayment patterns mm-hmm. Of the borrower, and then that then gives you your credit score. Mm. Yes. So your credit score then will determine whether the bank or any other financial institution is going to give you a loan. So for example, are you repaying your loans on time? Are
or
you
repaying at all?
You know? Kuna kama umepotea na pesa ya watu.
Pale kwa CRB.
Yeah, that information is all contained in there.
I think the other thing we didn't mention is CRB listings are, you said they're done by banks, microfinance institutions, digital credit providers, yes. and SACCOs. So yes. Don't think your SACCO will not list you with CRB.
Yes, because they're basically a lending institution. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So you have to be careful about the information that's going in there. And then maybe from the jump, it's important to know that you can check your CRB status online.
Okay.
Yes. Mm. So I think like Credit Info, you can go to their platform, request for your CRB. I think I've ever done it for 100 bob. Mm. Yeah, it's not so expensive. So it's important to check. Yeah, to confirm.
By the way.
Yeah, there can be someone who has
listed you.
Who has listed
like an institution who has listed you.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
And you probably already paid that
loan. The loan, yes. That's the other thing that I was battling with mm-hmm. while we were looking at this. It was whether or not I, as Nihala, I can go and list you as on CRB. Then I realized from my reading of the regulations of 2020, you cannot. It has to be a licensed financial institutions, and they say the Banking Act, Sacco Societies Act, Microfinance Institutions Act. I guess if you're not licensed under any of those, then
Then
you can't go to credit info and say, sasa ndanua kona 50 bob yangu.
Yeah.
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So then maybe you can tell us, how does someone find themselves on the CRB list?
Okay, so kwanza, anyway, so a CRB can give you either rating. It can give you a positive rating or a negative rating.
Okay.
If it gives you a positive rating or a positive credit score, then obviously it's a good thing for you and it's a good thing for your lending patterns.
Okay.
For a negative rating, this is what most people are usually worried about. And a lot of us have gotten those messages from KCB M-Pesa, you know, like the loans, the small loans that we borrow, you're like, pay this loan or you'll be listed on CRB.
Yeah.
So what happens is there's a period within which they're supposed to collect their loan. So it can be like maybe you're supposed to pay within 15 days. And maybe in the terms and conditions that you did not read, I can see you, the terms and conditions that you did not read, it says, if you do not pay within 15 days, we'll send you a 15-day notice and list you on CRB. They give you a 15-day notice and then your name is forwarded to CRB. But according to the Central Bank of Kenya regulations on CRB of 2020, it places the period for digital credit providers at 30 days.
Yeah.
So they'll give you a notice, give you 30 days within which you can either repay or dispute and tell them, oh, I already repaid this thing, or like just open negotiations with them on how you want to pay it so they don't list you. If you don't reach out to them, then they'll forward your name to the CRB. For banks, and I imagine now microfinance institutions and SACCOs, they have 90 days. So within 90 days of you defaulting on your loan, or 90 days from the date which they say, sasa hii loan, sasa imeisha kabisa, they'll give you a 90 days notice and say, oh, by the way, in the next 90 days, we're going to list you on the CRB. So again, you have those 90 days to either dispute, finish payment, or like get a payment plan. If you don't do any of these things, again, the bank will just forward the information to CRB and then you'll be listed. So when you go and check there, you'll find the loan that you've not been servicing has, they give you a negative credit score, and the reason will be because you've not been servicing that loan. Yes.
That makes sense. So 90 days for banks and let's call them the large financial institutions.
Yes.
And then 30 days for the
digital
lenders.
Yeah.
Now you know. That is how you find yourself on CRB.
You usually ask, nilijipataje huko kujipata? Kujipata. Kwenye uliomba loan walikuforward.
Okay. So I think the other thing is, so I find myself on CRB. Okay. So venye nilijipata, umesema atukujipata.
Ukujipata.
Okay.
Uliambiwa utawekwa, wewe pengine ndo ukutielia manani you notice.
Okay.
You're like, just another message.
Mark as read.
Okay. Ama delete.
So nika ingia CRB.
Uko ndani ya CRB.
Nika slide kwa DM ya CRB. How can I get myself out of the CRB listing?
Okay, so there's different ways to get yourself out of a CRB listing. First of all, if you've been erroneously listed, you reach out to the microfinance institution or the lending institution that listed you. So basically, utaenda, I don't know if KCB M-Pesa, go to Safaricom or to KCB and say, by the way, you people have listed me on...
I think KCB.
It's KCB, yeah? You go to the bank and say, by the way, you guys have listed me on CRB for amount XYZ, I paid, this is my proof. Then they will reach out to the CRB and the CRB will remove you. That is one way. Number two is, if you've not paid, make a payment plan and pay the amount. After you pay the amount, you reach out to the financial institution and tell them, by the way, I've already finished paying my loan or my credit facility. Kindly help me get off the CRB list. Now, the challenge is a lot of people do not know that it is the duty of your lender to get you off CRB. Because a lot of us think, we were speaking to our Mua today, and she was telling us that she was told it's upon you by yourself to go and look for a CRB and get your name off. How will you get your name off? You don't have will they believe your proof of payment?
No.
So your lender is supposed to kind of give that information to the CRB to tell you, Mihala has finished paying her loan, remove her. So the time that it usually takes is, I think, the lady that used to have like maybe 1 to 2 weeks max, and that is like on the long scale. But once you finish, you can just reach out to the bank and say, oh, by the way, I've finished, kindly get me off that CRB listing.
I get you.
Now, before we move on, there are situations where customers have been erroneously listed on CRB, and there's enough data and cases on Kenya Law Reports to kind of say you erroneously listed me, like kwa makosa listed me on CRB, and maybe I incurred this loss and this loss and this loss and this damage, and courts have actually awarded these people money. I think I was looking at 3 cases. One, I can't remember how much was awarded, but that formed the basis of this conversation today. The other one, the lady was awarded 200,000. But the first one that I can't remember I can't say the names here, I might get sued.
Yeah.
But it was one of the 3 CRBs. And what this lady had done is or the gentleman, they had paid the loan, cleared it, then they were erroneously listed on CRB. Then they went to the bank and said, I have paid my loan, I have done this, you people have not taken my name out of the CRB list. They delayed. They were asking for a loan from another institution. They were denied that loan. They asked for a mortgage within the same period. They were denied the mortgage. Then now, by the time now the case was being decided, the listing had already been removed because they realized, oops, this person is erroneously listed. But the court still awarded this person money and said it is the duty of the lender to actually remove you from CRB because you have the records of how I am repaying my loan. If I'm repaying 20 shillings a day, you know, and it's your duty to keep up with the records and make sure I have paid everything. In the event that I haven't paid everything, then you are supposed to know I haven't paid and get back to me and say, by the way, Danu, you haven't paid everything. Yeah.
And they're supposed to give you notice.
And they're supposed to give you notice.
Before they list you on CRB, they're actually supposed to send you a notice informing you that due to non-payment of the loan for this period of time, we are going to list you on CRB.
Yes. And that's what those SMSs are. By the way, just so you know, probably those are the notices you're getting sent. And you're kind of thinking, this is just another message.
Yes.
Yeah, but that is how nowadays people effect notices. They'll send you something on WhatsApp, and those are the very chalant ones. The nonchalant ones will just send you a message, and then now unajipata uko CRB venye tumesema.
Okay, interesting. I think one of the things we need to also talk about is before you get yourself on CRB, it's also important to discuss with your lender. For example, like with banks, you can actually go and have a discussion with the bank to restructure your loan. Yes, that's one of the ways in which you can prevent yourself from getting on the CRB listing. Yes, have a discussion with them, tell them I'm feeling like I'm not able to pay my loan because either you changed jobs or your business is not doing well. So you have a discussion with them and tell them to extend maybe your period for repayment, to reduce the amount that you're paying per month, just have a discussion to restructure that loan. Yeah, and there are many financial institutions in Kenya. If the one you're dealing with is not being helpful, go to another bank to buy the loan.
By the way,
and you go and pay that loan in that other bank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that struck me was the length of the notice period, because 30 days is not a short time.
Yes.
But
that's for digital lenders.
Yeah, for digital lenders. And 90 days for banks is also not a short time. That's 3 months. 3 months is enough time for you to, if you're disputing, to lodge your dispute, for the dispute to be resolved and for you not to be listed. If you want your loan reworked, that's enough period for that loan to be reworked. If you want to buy another bank to buy that loan, that's enough time for that.
Yes.
For that bank loan to be bought. So sometimes, again, it's because of quote unquote our own doing that we end up landing on places like CRB. Unless you want properly served with the notice, then now probably that's where the problem comes in. But if you are served with the notice, you should know. You can go and just tell them, by the way, this loan that you're telling me I took from KCB M-Pesa for 10,000, me I took 6K. So me I don't know about this, your 10K.
Yeah.
Let them take their time to resolve your dispute, and more often than not, after they resolve the dispute, then they'll say, okay, the amount is now 6,000. Now for this 6,000, our notice is starting from this day, because we were in a period of resolving the dispute that you raised.
I get. Yeah. So that also, I think, is important for people to know when it comes to the loans that people take. Yeah. Curious, can a business be listed on CRB?
That's a good question.
So if a business is defaulting on their loan, can they be listed on CRB?
That is actually a good question. Let me just look at the regulation and see what it defines, and you need to be credit information provider, credit report.
So as Mihala is looking at whether a business can be listed on CRB, it's also good to note that you can take insurance. So a lot of the bank loans are normally insured. So, for example, if you are retrenched, so you had taken an unsecured loan during while you were working, and then probably you're retrenched or have to leave your job for one reason or another, your loan is insured. So there are some life insurance companies that usually now take up the repayment, the installments, for a certain period of time. So it's normally, most insurance companies take it up between 6 to 9 months, depending on the policy that you took at the time of signing up for that loan. So when you're taking up a loan, especially with the banks, make sure that it is insured. Yes, because that will help you whenever you have you encounter any challenges like retrenchment, job loss, or that kind of challenge.
Redundancy.
Or, yes, if you're incapacitated in a way that you cannot pay the loan for a certain period of time, then the insurance takes
over
that loan. Yes, for that for that number of months that you've insured. Yeah.
That's a good point. Did you guys know loans are insured? Me, I knew that when I was doing Mrs. Nziuko's succession case. Anyway, so it's a gray area. For now, this might not be the right answer. But for now, I'll say probably not. Because when I look at... unajua mimi nakujanga na receipts. When I look at legal notice number 55 of 2020, which is the let me read it for you. The Banking Credit Reference Bureau regulations of 2020. Regulation number 2 defines a credit report as a means of an electronic, written, or other communication or of any information by a credit reference bureau relating to a person's creditworthiness, credit standing, credit capacity, character, or general reputation, which is used to collect and to serve as a factor in establishing that person's eligibility for credit or other service or product provided by an institution for such other purposes may be permitted by law or by contract. So so what happens is, of course, CRBs give credit reports. Basically, that's what they churn out. Yeah. And it says person. So maybe I don't know if it's a legal person and entity. It's not very clear.
Probably
about
a legal person might not be, it might not apply.
But I think mostly now what people are usually more worried about is themselves getting listed on CRB.
Yes. Than for companies.
Okay. I think another thing that came out clearly for me from the regulations was the fact that these regulations give customers you some rights.
Yes.
So one of the rights is if you notify the CRB that the information is inaccurate, they need to interrogate it, get the right information and put it up, or delete that information.
Yeah.
And that is supposed to be communicated to you. Number 2, they're supposed to adequately address your concerns on the accuracy or inaccuracy of the information. Adequately address your concerns means, like I said, investigate, interrogate, and give you a report saying, by the way, this is true and this is not true. And number 3 is, in case they're giving you a negative rating, they're supposed to notify you that 30-day notice period and 90-day notice period we were talking about.
Yeah.
And in case there's a shorter contractual period, they're supposed to tell you what that contractual period is. So if you agree with your bank, maybe the period will be 45 days, they'll tell you as per your contract, the period was 45 days, then they notify you of that. Number 3, and this one, the next one, sorry, I don't know what number it is, but this one you will love. CRBs are bound by confidentiality. Therefore, they cannot release your information to parties that are not authorized for that information to be released to them by the CRB regulations.
Data protection.
Yes, data protection, exactly. So they can give the customer that information, a third party that the customer has allowed that information to be given to, and whom they call subscribers. Subscribers are mainly like financial institutions that want to access your credit worthiness and have been licensed by central bank. So I can't just go to CRB and say, come on, like give me Brian's creditworthiness, you know. I want to know. No.
Actually, that's true, because even like if you're being employed, most times if your employer wants to find out if you're listed on CRB, they'll ask you to bring your CRB clearance certificate.
Exactly.
Yes, they can't go to CRB and ask for
that information.
But lending institutions can access your information. Yes, so that's the difference. So banks, SACCOs,
MFIs,
exactly, and digital lenders can be able to access that information. Yeah.
The other one is you have the right to get a free copy of your CRB listing or credit report at least once in your lifetime. So they'll tell you maybe yes, they do. Imagine they do. Actually, you know how I knew this is true?
Oh, I've only asked for mine once and I was charged 100.
Let me tell you, my younger sister, Annette, one of her friends used to work for one of the CRBs. And she would tell us that all the time. She would say like the first, I think it was report or credit score. I think it's report is free.
Oh.
So then they'll tell you like they'll tell you this is the frequency of you getting free reports. Maybe like after every 5 years you can get a free report. I don't know the period.
Okay.
Or they'll tell you, so if you come for a second report in the next maybe 2-3 months, you'll have to pay. Then they tell you the amount that is supposed to be paid. That is number one. Number two, they have to inform you of the right to dispute the credit listing or the credit score. So they have to tell you, yes, we've given you this, but you have the right to dispute this. Number three, they have the right to tell you how they arrived at your credit score and the formula. So this is your credit score. This is how we arrived at it. This is the formula we use. Whether you will understand it or not is between you and your God.
It's not between you and your math teacher.
I don't know. Not your math teacher hawakusaidia watu wengi. Probably just your maker. And then they also have the right to give you a reliable contact, so that you as a customer can get in touch with the CRB in case you have questions on your report. I bet you didn't know that one. And then they have also to inform you of your right to refer the dispute that you have to court, to ADR. ADR is alternative dispute resolution. Whatever mechanism you want to resolve it, they have to inform you of that right. Now, the interesting thing about Regulation 29 of this regulations, the CBK regulations, is that it says every CRB has to have this conspicuously listed. So I'm imagining kwenye mumeka single business permit yenu, that is the same place that some of these rights have to be clearly laid out. So on your website, conspicuously on the business premises, or if I request to know what rights do I have as a customer of this CRB, then they'll tell me these are the rights that you have. Yeah,
that's good. That's a lot of information that Mihala has shared, and as you've heard, there are regulations. Just maybe you can give us the name of the regulations in full.
They are called the banking. Acha niwasomeni sijume. Unajua pia kujuma kwa hii channel inakwanga rahisi because of the nini. They are called the Banking Credit Reference Bureau Regulations of 2020.
Yes.
So the Banking Credit Reference Bureau Regulations of 2020. We can put them we can put a link in the comment section so that you can access those.
Yes. Yeah. So those are the regulations that regulate the CRB space in Kenya. Yes. And as we had mentioned when we started, the credit reference bureaus are licensed by the Central Bank of Kenya. Yes, so that's important to know, so that when you're getting your clearance certificate, make sure that you get it from a licensed institution. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that was a good lesson. I think we should start calling it a classroom.
Yeah, this is a class. Oh, and by the way, going back to our constitution, I think getting your CRB rating and CRB listing, we can say, is founded in Article 35 of the Constitution, that says every citizen has the right to access information, 35(1)(b), information held by another person and required for the exercise or protection of any right or fundamental freedom. So you go and ask for your information from CRB.
Yes. You're entitled to a free one.
A free one. We don't know the frequency, by the way, but you're entitled to a free one.
Oh, a free one.
Yeah, wanaweza kuambia kuna convenience fee 100 bob coverage ndio aliambiwa, but you're entitled to at least one free report in your lifetime.
How is that free kama kuna convenience fee? I'm hurt.
But yeah, you're entitled to at least one free report in your lifetime. I don't know the frequency of free reports, but I know you're supposed to get at least one.
At least one. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. We've enjoyed.
Wait. Mwaniki akona swali. Yes, Mwaniki.
So, say I have a sister, from phone ID. I give them, like, I get them a number for, I get them to their sister number. And then they,
Hi, Brian.
They do some, they do something, you know, they go and take a loan. They're listed, they never tell me. You know, what happens in that situation where it's not me who, okay, the number is listed, it registers to my name, my ID, but the person who actually
took the loan is not you.
So how would I go around a situation like that? Where, you know, like, you msaidia mtu na register a SIM card and then anakuwa mtu zake and then how would that go around?
Wait, do you want to take that one?
Okay. Now I wouldn't say that my response is factual, but the first thing is you're actually not supposed to give someone your ID to go and register a line with it. So that is the first thing.
That is factual.
Yes, you're not supposed to. Because we have a lot of Kenyans who have given their IDs to Ugandans, Tanzanians to register for lines. Yes. And that is actually bringing a lot of security risk in the country. Yes. So that's actually one of the key reasons as to why you shouldn't be giving someone your ID to register a line. But I understand, like in the case of a minor, because for example, if you're getting a line for your child, you can't register that child because they don't have an ID.
Yes.
So higher chances are, or your younger sibling that is in your care, higher chances are that they will register that line. You will register the line using your ID and then give them the line. Now, when you do that, now you've taken personal responsibility for anything that they will do with that line. Okay, so whether it is taking a loan, whether it is sending people scamming messages,
whether it's fulizing,
yes, that is now you have taken up that personal responsibility because you have decided this is a minor in my care. I've given them this line. So it's important if you have registered a line for a minor in your care, check the activities that are going on that line. Yes. Otherwise, the police will come for you. They will not. If it's an issue, if it's a criminal case, it will be on you. If it's CRB, it will be on you. They wouldn't want to know that it was your sister. That is your local arrangement at home. And
then also what will be affected will be your own credit score.
Yes.
So her credit score will remain spotless for sure. Because CRB will not do that biashara for now remove Ndanu, now put me. Let's sub each other. They'll not do that. So what will go down is your credit score. Their credit score will remain impeccable.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. If you decide to take a line for a minor, then you also need to monitor their activities. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mwaniki. Engagement is shaanda.
I know.
Right. Thanks, by the way.
We are loving it.
We're loving it.
Thank you, guys. This was a really nice episode. I hope a lot of you have learned something and that you'll be able to apply this in your lives. And kulisiwa CRB is not the end.
It's not the end of
Unaweza tolewa.
Utatolewa. Actually, you're supposed to be removed ukimaliza kulipa
loan.
Kwani loan is your kushinda kulipa?
So don't do it. Kukopa harusi kulipa matanga. So we just wanted to inform you guys, give you informative information that will edify your day-to-day dealings and operations. So thank you for engaging with us, and please remember to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to tell a friend of another friend. To tell a friend. And post us in groups. Yes. Post us in groups. When you send that meme for type amen, also throw us there. Yes. All right. Thank you, guys. See you next time. Bye.